Will pull away in formation, no overtaking under safety car conditions, and it's a sensible decision because we've had no wet track time up until this weekend, but nonetheless, obviously from a fan's perspective, a disappointing one.
Yeah, it's a sensible decision, but when is sensible ever exciting? I get it. I get the reasons why they've done it, but as you say, it is as a fan watching on, which we are here at the commentary box, of course. It is frustrating.
Yeah, you want to see these drivers go for it from the beginning, but when the cars are this tricky on an all-weather tyre, with tyres that have no tyre temperature, it's the right call.
Well, if anything, it alleviates the need for me to have a lights out line. I was going to say it's a showdown in the Sunshine State just as it started raining, so, you know...
Technically, we are still in a Sunshine State, aren't we?
That's very true.
No proof of that this week.
So, Nico Müller, I mean, great pole position from him and really impressive result in the in the Porsche, rather, I beg your pardon. However, there are, as you can see, with the tower graphic on the left-hand side of your screen, 6 out of 8 world champions right down outside the top 10. Wet conditions now, Sam. Does that mean it's going to be more difficult for them to get a strong result in this race?
Yeah, it's wet conditions right now, Tom, but I've spoken to a couple of team bosses, and some of them where they've got one driver at the front, one driver at the back, they've split the strategy with regards to their tyre pressures, which is probably why we see Sebastian Buemi facing backwards at turn 4, trying to warm up his tyres, going over the slip angle through turn 3, and then just has the slowest, laziest of spins. Looks to me like Sebastian Buemi's gone for the dry tyre pressures, whereas his teammate, who's at the front, will be on the wet tyre pressures.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get why we're still doing safety car laps here, because there isn't any spray. So it's fine. If you want to do a safety car start, that's fine, but we should be getting racing fairly soon, I would hope.
Yeah, I wonder if there's more weather on the horizon. We were just looking at the radar there, and I wonder if they're doing it out of precaution of the fact that the rain may come down heavier.
I think they're doing it purely to get a little bit of tyre temperature and tyre pressure into the tyres before they go racing. But the only thing is that if they then decide, okay, safety car in, let's do a proper standing start, you'll lose all that temperature anyway. So they've either got to go now and have safety car in, or they should have just let them race from the very beginning.
It's going to be a race of experience, this one, isn't it? You know, who can decide the best strategy? Obviously, you've got the likes of Antonio Felix da Costa, who's one of the most experienced drivers in Formula E. He lines up on the second row of the grid. Nick de Vries alongside him. And then you've got some drivers who with a bit of less experience. Obviously, Taylor Barnard, he's now had a full season in Formula E, but you've got Felipe Drugovich, who's up there as well. Joel Eriksson, his first full-time season. So, again, the grid's really topsy-turvy, isn't it? And opportunity does knock here for some drivers.
Yeah, the grid looks... It's a strange-looking grid right now. You've got some big hitters towards the back. You've got Ollie Rowland down in 14th, Jake Dennis 15th, Mortara 16th, John-Eric Verne 17th, Dan Ticktum 18th. So it's full of big hitters towards the back, and all this is doing under the safety car is stopping them potentially making inroads towards the front.
So in terms of how it works with the safety car, by the way...
Copy. Very slippery. Copy. Try to get some temp in the tyres, but keep it safe.
To be honest, given the position that Nico Müller's in, he wouldn't be upset if the race was entirely under the safety car, would he?
Yeah, exactly. Do the whole race behind safety car, win the race. I don't think you'd be too displeased with that.
Now, you can see the Racing for Charity initiative that Porsche have got on over the course of this season, and a substantial amount of money they've raised throughout the 2026 season so far as well. But just going back to my earlier point,
we will go standing start.
Well, that's great news. Standing start then. So at the end of lap 4, the safety car will peel in. The drivers will line up on the grid. But if it's over 2 minutes and 39 seconds, which it is, we will at least get one added lap in this race. But a standing start is great news for us here in the commentary box. It's great news for you at home as well. And we're very excited to see what will happen down towards that first corner.
Yeah, well done to the race director there, because that's a sensible decision all round. We get temperature in the tyres for the drivers. We get the excitement of a standing start. So yeah, no, that's really well managed, I think.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what happens when the drivers are peeling around. They're just going through the first sector of the lap at the moment. So the safety car, as we said, is going to peel in. The drivers will all line up on the grid. And obviously, we don't have a formation lap in Formula E traditionally. So Nico Müller's going to have to time this one as best he can so that he doesn't line up on the grid and then is sat there waiting for, a minute and a half whilst everyone else filters round.
Yeah, that's right. And Sam and I were in the one and only ever formation lap, first ever Formula E
do you
race
remember
in
that? The
Beijing.
first ever one, 2014.
Yeah.
I feel old now. My goodness me. But this is where it starts to get exciting now. So safety car will peel in. Nico Müller will then be in charge of the pace of the pack. I can imagine there won't be too many burnouts of all the 20 drivers. They'll want to try and conserve the energy. As I say that, Nico Müller fully sideways out of the last corner. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe there will be burnouts throughout the grid.
Yeah,
But I think, Sam, maybe just give us a sense in terms of the energy usage. Obviously, at these sort of conditions, you're going to be using much less energy, aren't you?
Absolutely, because you just simply can't get on power like you would in reality.
Yeah. So I think that's why. But although you look at the burnout he's done there, I think although the challenge will be if the track does start to dry, if the rain has stopped and the track starts to dry, then the second half of the race, you've got to think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And but the main thing, Karun, is the tyre pressures, the differences. It's a huge difference in 2.8 and 1.2 with regards to tyre pressures. 1.2 being what you'd run in the dry.
Yeah, tyre pressures are going to be key in this one, and I think some of the drivers that are further back, the likes of Roland, Dennis, Verne, Ticktum, etc., they're all going to think about maybe an early attack mode in this race to get it out of the way so they can cycle through, get track position whilst the field is all bunched up on the opening few laps. You can see a fair amount of smoke on the grid with all these burnouts that have taken place. Might take a moment or two for that to clear.
Yeah, but that already suggests the track's starting to dry, isn't it? You wouldn't see these sort of levels of burnouts if the track was covered in water.
No, absolutely not. So we wait for the green flag to be waved then, and then the 5 red lights to come on. After 5 laps under the safety car, we are about to go racing here in Miami. As the 5 red lights are now coming on, it's time for a masterclass then, as the lights go out and we go racing. What can Drugovich do from the front row of the grid? What about Nico Müller? He gets a good start from pole position, drags down towards turn 1. Keep an eye out for Taylor Barnard on the outside there in the DS Penske. Müller's deep. Drugovich is on the inside, challenging for the race lead. They're all scrabbling, trying to find grip. Drugovich looks to the outside as you've got Antonio Felix da Costa in the mix there. He is side by side with the Mahindra of Nick de Vries coming through into turn 4 and straight into an early attack mode then for Felipe Drugovich. So he wants to get maximum traction, maximum grip and cycle through and challenge for position, which he's already doing as we come on the run into the left-hander.
If it stays damp, that's an absolutely brilliant strategy call potentially. Let's see how this one plays out. He's gone for 2 minutes, so not a longer one. He's leaving himself 6 minutes towards the end of the race.
I think that's a really clever move as we see the Jaguar coming down the inside. Evans alongside Norman Nato. But yeah, Drugovich now in the lead. So he's out-dragged Nico Müller with that extra 50 kilowatts, with that four-wheel drive on the run out of turn 11. He's taken the lead. And I think this is the point where he needs to make hay, right? He's got all of this extra ability to make a gap in these tricky damp conditions, and I think he's going to go.
He's very deep. Look at how bunched up it gets through turn 13. We're expecting a proper concertina effect through there. If this was a dry race, we were expecting it to be a pack race. Lots of energy, lots of drivers squabbling, changing positions for the first 2/3. That strategy call has gone completely out of the window here as we now begin lap 6 of the race, the first at full racing speed.
So we see Günther, Roland, Ticktum towards the back of the pack now. That's where, as we see Müller and
de
Vries going through attack mode. But Roland, Günther, Ticktum at the back, they're the drivers that have gone through the dry tyre setup.
So de Vries has gone for a 4-minute attack mode deployment then. So that's, as you can see, in contrast to what Müller and Drugovich have done. You've got Barnard there who's side by side with Joel Eriksson. This is the battle for 5th place.
Yeah, Eriksson cut across the chicane. Watch Pascal Wehrlein.
I think that Eriksson's going to have to give that position back to Barnard there, who's cut the corner and then overtaken.
Yeah.
So for me, he's got to give that back position.
But keep an eye on Barnard. Keep an eye on Wehrlein, guys, because he's gone for attack mode. He's in 12th place. Let's see how far up he cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important there. But then look at da Costa going on the outside line as Eriksson defends. He's going to try and pick the pocket of Barnard here as da Costa. Can he get traction on the exit of the corner? He can. And he elevates himself up a position. So through into about 4th or 5th place then for the Jaguar driver. There's Mitch Evans as we ride on board with him.
That was Mitch Evans on.
It was Evans, yeah. I beg your pardon. He's made an absolute stonker of a start, hasn't he, Mitch Evans? It's gone very well for him, rather than his teammate Antonio Felix da Costa.
There's Wehrlein, so he's now got ahead of Cassidy. He's up into 9th place, so already 8th place, so I beg your pardon. So he's made up 4 places since he took that attack mode.
Marty very aggressive there on Norman Nato for 11th place. They come through into the left-hander side-by-side between the Cupra Kiro and the Nissan. Marty's got track position. He's got the inside line. Vern's trying to pick the pocket of the compatriot as well. Can't make it stick into 6, 7 and 8 though. So Marty making good ground in the opening stage of this one. Keep an eye out for Nick Cassidy as well. He often sits there quite quietly in the opening stages of the race, and I wonder if he's going to be able to cycle his way through. So Dragovic is now out of attack mode. Muller's got 17 seconds left, but watch out for Nick de Vries. He's got 2 minutes still left of that deployment, and he's very much within striking distance to challenge for the lead. Muller, meanwhile, is challenging for the lead against Dragovic and goes through as we begin the next lap.
So these three, because they've taken the attack mode, they've broken away. And we saw this in Monte Carlo, didn't we? When we had a wet race there last year. If you get these attack modes, you know, at different stages in a wet race, it spreads the field much, much more than in a dry race. But we've got the top three broken away, and it's over 5 seconds, Tom, now between de Vries and Da Costa.
Albi Lau is our strategist for this season in Formula E. Albi, what are you making of this race from your perspective? How do you see it working out in terms of strategy for some of the drivers that maybe didn't qualify so well, want to make their way up the field?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the early attack mode makes loads of sense. As Karun said rightly, the field's just going to spread out as the race goes on. So make sure using your attack mode early, you've got the main difference between all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. That's going to make an even bigger difference in these sort of wet, dry, slippery conditions. So I think that was the right move. Those that are stuck in the back, they're not thinking about it. They really should be.
The risk to that, of course, is they're using more energy, right? As we see de Vries now using the extra traction he's got to take the lead. So he is now going to lead into turn one. But they've used more energy. They've got ahead. We'll see the numbers about to come up on the left-hand side. So they 81% for the top three. You contrast that, let's say Roland down at 86%. He's got 4-5% more than most of the other cars up front, but he's stuck in the pack.
Yeah, black and white flag for Ericsson cutting the chicane at turn 7, which is what we saw. But Ollie Rowland doing a good job with the energy. He's going to need something to happen, though, I feel. He's down in 18th at the moment. It's either going to need to dry out, or we're going to need a safety car for him to come into this race.
So Google Gemini says that Da Costa's in a position, could be poised to attack. What's the gap he's got back to his teammates? About 2 seconds or so, quite comfortable there, as Jean-Eric Verne is now in attack mode. He's got past Pepe Marti in the Citroen then for Verne, and he's gone for 6 minutes in that early deployment. So he's gone quite long here to try and get as much ground as he possibly can.
Yeah, I tell you what though, the drivers are doing a fantastic job, aren't they? You know, in really difficult condition. We haven't seen incidents or front wings or any of this sort of stuff. As Jean-Eric Verne coming down the inside of Edo Mortara into the 13 hairpin, but Mortara himself going around the outside of Di Grassi.
Yeah, late on the brakes there. Di Grassi's going to close the line, and it's going to thwart a challenge there for Mortara. It does open the door for Jean-Eric Verne, who picks the pocket of them both coming down the start-finish straight. Next up is his teammate Nick Cassidy on the fringes of the top 10. Made it nice and easy as Di Grassi and Mortara are still side by side. This is great progress for both Di Grassi and Mortara, as one of the Cupra Kiros, Pepe Martin it is, that goes deep down at turn 1, but manages to gather it all up without too much bother. But yeah, managing to make some decent ground. You've got Maloney in the mix there as well in the other Lola Yamaha Apps machine. Mortara sliding his way out as we look at the helicopter shot coming down in towards the chicane of 6, 7 and 8, where we've seen so much drama and so many track limits warnings over the course of this weekend. Looking here at Cassidy, just biding his time, waiting for the opportunity. But you're absolutely right, Karun. The field has spread out quite a lot in these opening 5 laps under racing speed.
Yeah, I don't think there's a clear answer yet, actually, for, you know, the likes of Roland and Dennis. You know, they're further back, they're saving energy, that's fine. But there's an awful lot of cars you've got to pass, and I don't think there's a clear way. Ooh, crunching. I don't think there's a clear path in terms of the overtaking yet. As you know, we thought it was going to be like a Misano type race where it's easier, but I think in these conditions it's proving to be really difficult.
This lead bunch have definitely got away, haven't they? And Joel Eriksson has actually joined the fight, hasn't he? In 4th place. The young man has done a really solid job this weekend. He's looked good in the dry. He's driving really well in the damp and slippery conditions as well. Yeah,
he's used one attack mode there, so that's allowed him to catch up to the back of that trio, which now becomes a quartet. We're side by side with Muller versus de Vries for the race lead. De Vries doesn't fight it too much. And Drugovic going through for second there as well, down at turn 11.
No, nobody wants to lead now. I think it's got to that stage where it might be drying out, and energy now is a little bit critical for these four.
Yeah, just to give you a sense of the lap time, Joel Eriksson last time round, a 107.2. Now, in the full dry conditions, in 300 kilowatt mode, they were about 10 seconds a lap faster than that. So that's where the track is, and that's where a bit of the energy management is also coming.
And this 4 has now become a 5 because Pascal Wehrlein has just joined them.
So they're the 5 that have used the attack mode, isn't it? You know, the next one is Jean-Eric Vergne, who's still in that attack mode. But the first 5, they've got that gap partially because they have, well, I think primarily because they're the 5 who have used one attack mode.
It's interesting looking at the strategy there for the Jaguar cars of Da Costa and Evans. They're in 6th and 7th place respectively, and neither of them have used an attack mode at the moment. Vergne, meanwhile, who's sort of tail-ending them, as you can see, is still in attack mode. I wonder what sort of ground he's going to be able to make up. He's about a second or so away from the back of Da Costa, who in turn is another few seconds behind his teammate. But there's a possibility there that the Jaguars are trying something different in the opening stages of this race, and we'll see whether that strategy proves to be one that will work out. Coming down the back straight we are. You can see Oliver Rowland on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, down in 17th place, the reigning world champion. It's not been a particularly brilliant race for him so far, as Drugovic attacks Muller for the race lead down at turn 13. Might open the door here for De Vries, doesn't though, and blocks them all off as we come along the start-finish straight. It's still as you were at the front of this one, but Drugovic is looking to try and challenge. Can he do anything for the move on the inside down at turn 1? He's got the track position. Has he got the place against Nico Muller? He has. He goes through and into the lead for Andretti in their home race.
Yeah, they're getting quite racy, those two, aren't they? I mean, we got an interesting gap, an interesting gang up at the front. 2 full-season rookies, 2 world champions, and you got Nico Muller who's trying to establish himself in that Porsche team and win his first race for the Works team.
Yeah, for me, Felipe Drugovic doesn't need to be fighting and trying to overtake and take the lead right now. Settle in, Felipe, because you're down on energy compared to the people you're fighting against. Just learn from them, settle in, and then overtake towards the end.
Yeah, he's over-consuming at the moment. You can see that relative to the energy that's remaining for Muller, for De Vries as well. Ericsson has also consumed a little bit more energy relative to those around him. You can see the 2 Jaguars, they're actually up on energy just ever so slightly. Well, Evans is, at least, compared to his teammates. From
the figures that we can see on the TV, Ericsson and Drugovic are down at 70%, which is the lowest of anybody else in the field. They're 1 to 2% down compared to the top 6, and then 4 to 5% down on the people at the back.
So it's important not to compress the field. So if he wants to give up the lead, just go in front again. Shouldn't lose that much pace.
Yeah, and I think that's a key point, because they are compressing the field. You know, we talked about a 5-6 second gap to Da Costa. Well, that gap's gone. Da Costa's now there. He's less than a second behind. So actually, these two fighting has allowed all of these drivers who haven't yet used the attack mode to just basically have a free pass to get back in the fight without having used attack mode.
A free pass and more energy.
That's what I mean, yeah.
It's bringing Jaguar right into play in this race quite nicely here. So keep an eye out for Da Costa and for Mitch Evans as well. If Evans can get onto the coattails of his teammate, we could see them challenging. There is Da Costa right in the background, and Evans has closed the gap down to his teammate, down to about 1.6 seconds. So you'd imagine he'll be right on the back of this train before too long. So the race sort of is ebbing and flowing at the start of this one, and you can see now a challenge for position here with Joel Eriksson looking to the outside with Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein going through for 4th though.
I wonder, just as a sidebar, whether Dan Ticktum's had an incident or a spin or something somewhere with Gunter, because they are Ticktum's 14 seconds off the back of Norman Natter, so I wonder if he's had something.
Drugovic a bit deep into turn 1 there, manages to gather it all up okay. It's pretty much a one-line sort of series of corners going through these first few. Unless you come in towards turn 4, you can send one up the inside, but you can see it's off camber going through into there and carrying a bit of understeer going into that corner there for Nico Muller.
I get the sense, Sam, that there's a bit of experience coming to play here, isn't it? You know, De Vries and Wehrlein, they've seen this show before. They're just thinking, let these two fight for the lead. We'll sit in 3rd and 4th and just try and bank some energy here.
Da Costa's gone in for his first attack mode. Sorry to cut in front of you there, Sam, as well. So he'll be right on the back of these drivers, and I imagine challenging for position before the end of this lap.
Yeah, the cars that I'm looking at right now, Karun, is Da Costa and Evans. I think that they're looking particularly strong. Even the likes of Mortara on energy, but I think he's a little bit too far back. Jeb's 6.5, 7 seconds behind the 8.2 now, behind the back of Mitch Evans. But certainly the two Jags, Da Costa now in attack, just under 3.5 minutes to go. Where can he get to? Can he take the lead of this race?
I think that is, and I think that's also important that they got both cars there, isn't it? They can play a bit of a team game in some ways. You know, Da Costa take the attack first, then they can use both dogs in the fight to put pressure on everyone else.
Well, I expect Evans to maybe take it now.
Nico will follow you, and then we'll swap positions in 2 laps to pull away from the others.
So no attack mode for this time around for Mitch Evans, but as you say, it's bringing them rightly into play. I think they're going to do a similar strategy. Do you remember Monaco a couple of years ago when they had the 2x2 formation and we saw them sort of backing up other drivers? Obviously they're not in that position at the moment because they're not leading, but there is a possibility that they could try and use that sort of track position to get there, really. If Da Costa can get in front, back the rest of the pack up, bring them into Mitch Evans, he can then move through, and then they can work together on that one. We'll wait and see how it all decides to work out, but you can see there Joel Ericsson's used more energy than most of the drivers inside the top 10.
But Da Costa's gone past him, as well. So Da Costa now up in 5th place, and I think down the start-finish straight, he should manage to get past Pascal Wehrlein.
Dragovic looking to try and challenge. Da Costa there's on the outside of his old teammate. No love lost between those two, but down into turn 1. Da Costa's through for 4th. Nice move there, and next target will be Nick de Vries in the Mahindra. Of course, everybody other than Da Costa and Evans have used their first attack mode. Of course, Da Costa is in that active attack mode at the moment, on board here with Nick de Vries, and this is going to be quite easy here for the Portuguese driver, the former champion, to go through on the inside into the chicane of turn 6, 7, and then through the left-hander of turn 8.
Yeah, the car's so much nicer to drive, all-wheel drive at 350 with the better traction control settings than it is at 300. 300, the car's just slipping and sliding around. 350 is like a rocket ship in the wet compared to the standard race mode.
I was just about to say that the advantage of the attack mode in the wet is significantly increased, and you can see that evident there with Da Costa going through for second on Felipe Dragovic. Dragovic going a bit deep on the brakes, just getting a little bit caught out by the closing speed there. Evans is again closing up onto the coattails of it. So again, Da Costa now challenges for Nico Muller. A big chop over on the start-finish straight between Da Costa and Muller. The upshot is it's the Jaguar driver who is now in front for the first time in season 12, and is this an opportunity that Jaguar can take advantage of once Da Costa comes to the end of that attack mode? Is he going to do what we've seen, bring him back, bring the rest of the field back into play for his teammate Mitch Evans, once he then takes attack mode, and then he can cycle through?
I think he just wants to go now. I think he wants to go. He's in the lead of this race, he's got energy. I think he just wants to settle into the lead. I think team orders now, where Mitch is, you can't, he's P7. He's too far back. If he was P2 or P3, I'd completely agree, but not in P7.
Well, we'll wait and see how it all decides to work out. There is Mitch Evans, as we say, in 7th position at the moment. Keep an eye out for Nick de Vries there in the Mahindra as well, who's sliding his way out of turn 11.
The Nissans are having a miserable time, aren't they? They're just stuck down in that 17th, 18th place.
Let's have a look at this move then. It was an aggressive chop over on the start-finish straight.
I think it looked worse on the kind of drone view than it was in reality. Look, Nico Muller moved a little bit, and I think that's what...
I don't know. I'm not sure Da Costa needed to move across to the right.
No,
he
didn't need to, but he was... He didn't need to, but it was like, right, if you're going to move, I'm going to move as well.
He's picking a black and white flag.
Yeah, I think that was just a bit unnecessary as a,
So we said this race started under the safety car, and there was a probability for added laps as Evans now does go in for his first attack mode deployment. He's been sat there conserving energy at the back of the pack, and I wonder whether this is going to prove to be to his advantage. Now 2 minutes of attack mode for his first deployment, so he's got to get a move on. Yeah,
very interesting to only go for 2. That leaves him 6 minutes towards the end of the race. That could be vital. If he can join the back of this group, which he will do very soon, or at least get into the top 3, to have 6 minutes instead of 4 compared to most of the people in front, that'll be a big advantage.
Yeah, I think that's... the other thing is, with attack mode, you gain by doing something different. So I think having that extra 2 minutes as an offset to other people, that's a smart move. By just doing the same as everyone else, you kind of just... you go on a train. So yeah, let's see how this plays out for him.
Well, he's already picked off one, his fellow Jaguar powered Envision of Joel Eriksson coming down towards turn 1. Next target will be Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche. Through the first sector we go, as we said, very much one line through there. Might be able to send something on the inside, but gets a bit of a slide on, just clipping the curb there on the right-hander. He'll have great traction though on the exit of the corner, and surely he's going to drive past quite easily. Yeah, so Evans through for 5th place then on the former world champion. Gets a bit too much curve on the inside, but gathers it all up okay.
And look at the amount of steering look he's putting in. He's deliberately going over that slip angle to try and get those front tyres to bite.
It's an old karting trick, that, isn't it? You try and just induce understeer, really. Get some temperature in the tyres. Right, next target, Nick de Vries. Next target acquired and disposed of. So, 4th place then for Mitch Evans. What about Drugovic? Can he pick his pocket before turn 13? He closes up under braking, but he's not quite there to pounce for position. 15 seconds left of attack mode as we exit the final corner. Surely he's going to go up into the podium blazes here as he drags alongside the Brazilian and goes through for 3rd.
Look on the right, that's Max Günther, who's being lapped. So Max Günther, obviously some sort of a problem there, but doing the right thing, getting nicely out of the way.
Yeah, it's a shame for Max Günther and for DS Penske in their home race. So much promise, and it's not really materialising at the moment with Taylor Barnard just on the fringes of the top 10.
Well, no, that's what I think. Günther has gone for the dry tyre pressures, and I experienced it last year in Monaco. We risked it, and it was a wet race. I went for the dry pressure, and it is awful. I mean, it really is such a difference between wet pressure and a dry pressure. It's 7 or 8 seconds a lap at times.
A couple of spots of rain on the camera lens there. I wonder if that's something to just keep an eye on over the next couple of laps. Maybe the rain's decided to make a return. We're expecting 2 added laps in this race. Of course, we started under the safety car, and as soon as the lights went green and the cars pulled away from the grid in formation, the race was underway. So it should go from 39 up to 41 laps here.
Yeah, it's not drying particularly quickly, is it? You know, they're still in the high 1:05s, 1:06s, a lot of the drivers. So it's not just clearing off the surface water as quickly as it. Oh, who's that going deep?
That's one of the Kiros. That's Dan Ticktum down turn 1. So he's also coming up to be lapped as well here. So not been another brilliant weekend for Dan Ticktum. He's had a shocker of a start to season 12, the British driver. Team radio for Da Costa.
Okay, Antonio, we've got 1 warning for track limit, turn 11.
Yeah, not the first time we've seen track limits warnings this weekend, but you know, get 1 warning, get another warning, then you could be on for a penalty. I can see how that works out for Antonio Felix da Costa. At the moment, he's in the lead of this race, but you can see there when he goes into his final attack mode deployment, he's going to have 2 minutes fewer left in his pocket relative to Nico Müller and his own teammate Mitch Evans, as well as Felipe Drugovic. That might leave him vulnerable at the end of the race.
Absolutely, absolutely. You look at Evans, Drugovic, they've got 6 minutes left. Wehrlein only 4 minutes left. Da Costa 4 minutes left. So for me right now, Müller, Evans, Drugovic looking pretty good.
And you were saying about Da Costa, you know, trying to check out. It's not worked for him, has it? He's not been able to build out that gap.
But I think Muller's got more pace than it. Ooh, Wehrlein down the inside of de Vries. That got very close there. But you can see here, Wehrlein's having another look down the start-finish straight. Da Costa is, you know, they're in the same power mode. Nobody's got attack mode. It's about feel and grip and balance and who's able to just have a bit more confidence. I feel like the Porsches have just got a bit more speed at this point. They look like they've got more potential, but they're kind of stuck in the traffic.
Google Gemini says Pepe Marti's one to watch. He's in 9th position at the moment, still hasn't used any of his attack mode deployments. He's got Edo Mortara directly in front of him at the moment. So Mortara's done a good job actually of cycling his way through the field. He started 16th on the grid, to remind you, and he's now inside the top 10, which might be a way of salvaging something after a torrid time in qualifying. He had contact with Sebastian Buemi, which didn't allow him to set a fast time at the end of the session, and ultimately cost him a chance of a good grid position.
With where I am, 9% Yankee 9.
Okay, so the top 7 though, Tom, they've gone. They're in a different race at the moment. So barring a safety car, the top 7 is kind of sorted right now with 16 laps to go. The main thing is what order are they going to filter out in?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one works out. And exactly as you say, it's the drivers behind Antonio Felix da Costa that we need to keep an eye on for these attack mode strategies and working out who is going to be the first to blink, because as we know, da Costa has got 2 minutes fewer of attack mode remaining. So he's either going to have to hope for some problems there for Dan Ticktum. He's coming to the pit lane and it looks like his race is going to be over on lap 24.
Or are they just putting another set of tyres on?
Oh, he must have got a puncher, because you can't change tyres unless you've got a puncher, surely.
No, you can come in and change tyres if you want to. So last year in Monaco, again, we saw drivers trying the dry pressures at the beginning and then moving to the wet pressures under safety car.
Okay, I wonder if he's just going for a fastest lap attack, or again, like you say, hoping for a safety car, and maybe that'll work out in his favour. At the moment, it hasn't done at all.
So Taylor Barnard's just gone for his first attack. He's gone for a 4 minute, so let's see if he can move up from 13th as Nico Müller move on Da Costa, and he's back into the lead of the race.
Nicely done there for Nico Müller. Ran it a bit deep in the mid part of the corner, but gathers it all up okay. It might leave him vulnerable to attack, though, from the Portuguese driver as they come down the start-finish straight, side by side. Da Costa on the right, Müller on the left, down into turn one. Müller's got the inside line, he's got track position, and he holds the race lead for now as he makes the apex of the corner quite nicely through there, but it's opening the door for the likes of Mitch Evans and Felipe Drugovich to try and attack as well. I have to say, the pace has gone down considerably over the last few laps. We were in the 105s at one point, we're now down into the 1 minute 8s.
This is really going to jumble up the championship, isn't it? Roland Cassidy 16th and 17th, so this is this is the thing with Formula E.
So obviously that's done anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't want to do that.
Well, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. Waste of time.
It makes his feelings very clear, doesn't he, Dan Tickton?
I think bless him. I do feel for him a little bit. He's been quick this season, and so after 3 races to not have any points is difficult to swallow, as we now see Mitch Evans applying the pressure to the Portuguese driver, and he goes down the inside of his teammate. Who's going to get the better traction, though? Looks like Da Costa's going to fight back, and he holds the position.
Yeah, side by side they go down the start finish straight. Da Costa with the inside line with track position going down into turn one. Who's going to be last of the late breakers here? Can Evans firm it around the outside of his teammate? He's late on the brakes, he's going to run a bit deep. Can he gather it all up? Evans does go through for second on teammate Da Costa.
Yeah, great move. It's kind of like, I've been at this team longer, follow me.
Yeah, I think Da Costa's struggling here, because look, he's dropping in the clutches of Drugovich behind. Da Costa feels like he's just struggling for pace at this stage of the race.
Feels like it's starting to get a little bit more punchy now out there on track, doesn't it? They were quite sensible for a handful of laps, and now they're starting to get a little bit more aggressive.
But that could also be, you know, we're in the comms box here, we can't see the precipitation out there. We don't know whether it's just starting to spit a little bit more. These tyres and cars are super sensitive to any raindrops. So if that rain has come down a little bit more, it can affect the cars by 2 to 3 seconds a lap.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's allowed Nico Müller to build out a bit of an advantage. We understand there is a bit more rain coming down. Bang! That's Drugovich straight into the back of Antonio Finished Da Costa down at turn 13. Disaster for Jaguar, head in hands time for Ian James, the team principal, and for Andretti, an opportunity of victory coming to a premature conclusion as the Brazilian driver filters back into the pit lane. So from 7 drivers down to 6 at the sharp end of this race.
Well, Da Costa's kept going. He's still in 6th place, but what a shame for the Portuguese man and the Brazilian. They were both having such a good day, and that's such a shame. These conditions are so difficult, Tom. The cars are so challenging to drive. Hope Antonio Felix Da Costa can carry on.
Well, front wing damage quite clearly there for Felipe Drugovich, straight out of the pit lane, then straight back into the race. But he's going to be bitterly disappointed with how this one has worked out. It has now opened the door for Mitch Evans, who's closed right up onto the back of Nico Müller. So maybe one Jaguar is able to profit from the disappointment of another. And you can see the gap that they've got. It's about 2.5 seconds over the rest of the field. Müller goes for a defensive line. Out late on the brakes there for Mitch Evans. I thought we were going to get a repeat of what we had 1 lap ago. Goes for the switchback on the inside. Side by side they go. That is absolutely phenomenal from Mitch Evans. Plays him like a fiddle as he comes across the line to take the lead of the race at the start of lap 28.
What a switchback that was. One of the best switchbacks I've seen in Formula E. Really enjoyed watching that. Well done, Mitch Evans.
Phenomenal job from Mitch Evans. Nick de Vries there in 3rd place. Verline in 4th position, but you can see the advantage. I tell you what though, Müller and Evans quite equal on energy. Evans with a slight advantage though.
Yeah, and I think we'll need to see, because they've both got 6 minutes left, haven't they? Both...
yeah, they do. Yeah, Da Costa was the outlier with 4 minutes, and he's now out of contention.
Yeah, well, no, actually...
Well, he's not yet.
Yeah, he's not yet. And also, you got De Vries, Verline, Ericsson, Da Costa. They're all at 4. My point is, the first 2 I think, are in the fight for the win, because they're going to have an extra 2 minutes over the other 4 behind. So this feels like a battle between Evans and Muller for the win.
Let's have a look at what happened with Drugovich and Da Costa then. So just misjudged the braking, didn't he?
Yeah, just way too quick.
Let's have a look on board, let's have a listen. So we're coming down in towards turn 13. He's miles off at this point.
Leave me to it, it's the first.
Da Costa's getting pretty used to facing the wrong way. He had a shocker in Mexico a couple of weeks ago, and wait for this. Yeah, that's not the welcome that he'd have wanted. And you can see the disappointment there in the Jaguar TCS Racing camp as a result of that as well. And the upshot is it removes Da Costa from the contention for victory at least, but the battle for the podium still very much on for the Portuguese driver at the moment. Da Costa gets a black and white flag also for track limits. That's his second black and white flag in this race.
Yeah, I'm just pleased that he's still in the race, because he's had a challenging start to the year. The pace has been there, but no points. So nice to see him still running, because he was an absolute passenger there with Felipe Drugovich.
Keep an eye out for Taylor Barnard. He's in attack mode in 10th position at the moment. Where is he relative to Sebastian Buemi? He's right on his coattails, about half a second or so away.
So he's gone early for his second attack mode. He's the first driver to take their second attack mode. So he's playing all of his cards at this stage of the race, Tom.
Verline trying to attack here against Nick de Vries, who's sort of the cork in the bottle in that battle for the final podium places here. Muller has just dropped off the back of Mitch Evans, who's seizing the opportunity of victory with both hands. You can see Verline there attacking against Joel Eriksson. Fourth place, the battle that is going on between the German driver and the Swede down into turn 1. At the moment, it's the season 10 world champion Pascal Verline who has the advantage over the Swedish rookie.
He's done a really good job, isn't he, Joel Eriksson? He's just stayed there with the leaders, hung in there, not done anything spectacular, never led the race, but just stayed with the lead bunch. And in these conditions, that's easier said than done.
Keep an eye out for the likes of Pepe Marti as well. He's down in 8th place, a couple of seconds off the back of the likes of Eder Mortara, but he's still got 2 attack mode deployments remaining in this one. If you get a safety car coming on in this race, there is a possibility that it could be set to change. And I tell you what, the second group looks like it's catching the first group of drivers, so we could be on for an absolutely phenomenal finish to this one. Just a reminder, we've got another 2 added laps in this, and you can see Drugovich there picks up a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision, so he's now back in the race. It's crucial that Drugovich finishes this one, otherwise that time penalty will be converted to a grid penalty for Jeddah in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, as De Vries is coming under increasing pressure from
Verline.
Yeah, Verline. De Vries weaving around everywhere. We've seen him over-defending in the past. I think he's been fair enough so far this afternoon.
Yeah, so coming through the first corner, that's the group that we were talking about. The likes of Pepe Marti, who's still got 2 attack mode deployments. Buemi's in there. Barnard, he's in attack mode at the moment with 50 seconds or so remaining. De Grassi on the fringes of the top 10. He got a podium in Miami a year ago when we were racing at Homestead, and he's got about a similar amount of attack mode remaining against Taylor Barnard.
Watch these two, Marti and Buemi. They've not taken any of their attack modes. I'm not sure what they're waiting for, because we've only got 8-9 laps to go.
Well, they're gonna double stack their attacks, aren't they? I think they're just going to do an attack and then do another attack and try to blast through, but I think they've just left it way too late. That front group had the best idea: get one done and make a break.
Yeah, about 4 seconds or so, the gap between the first and then the second group. Eder Mortara sort of leading that at the moment. Bit of instability on the rear there for Barnard. He just locks the rears. Verline versus De Vries in this battle for 3rd position. Then as we come out of the final corner, across the timing line, what's going to happen here between De Vries and Verline? Down towards the south finish straight we go, in towards turn 1. Verline tries to attack, De Vries tries to defend. Is he going to lock it up? Is he going to go deep down into turn 1? Can Verline try to get the switch back? No, they both run deep. It might open the door here for Joel Eriksson to join in the party as well. They come through the S-bends, and somehow they're as you were as they come out of this complex in the same way that they entered.
Honestly, overtaking Nick de Vries is one of the most challenging things that you will experience in Formula E, because he's a really talented driver, very, very quick, but he is feisty when it comes to defending. I mean, he will chop you, he'll put you in a wall. He's more than happy to change direction a couple of times.
Well, we'll see what the defensive driving is like here for Nick de Vries. We already saw a glimpse of it a few moments ago. Tell you what, though, he is down on energy relative to the likes of Evans, Muller, and also, crucially, Pascal Verline, who's his immediate challenger behind.
Yeah, but Verline made a bit of a mistake there at turn 11, and that's put him under a potential vulnerable attack from Joel Eriksson, but he managed to hang on. So the first two have sort of broken away, haven't they? 2.5 seconds now, the gap between De Vries and Muller. And as I was saying before, this feels like an Evans versus Muller race.
They were 8/10 faster last time around in the race between Evans and Muller relative to the drivers behind.
Okay, still 0.5% more energy than Muller. Doing a great job. Keep it up.
Evans is in a great position here. He's driven this one so well. Credit to him and also the Jaguar team for the strategy, because they played an absolute blinder here as Wehrlein goes in for his last attack mode in the race. He's the first of this leading group to decide to do it, and how is it going to pay out for him? It's going to deny an opportunity for attack there with Joel Eriksson at the moment, but it will open the doors against Nick De Vries before too long here as well.
Yeah, surely that now means that he's going to cycle into third place relatively quickly, presumably down this next straight. He'll be taking that final podium position away from Nick De Vries. Nick De Vries, though, obviously still got that 4 minutes to play and will have an offset against Pascal Wehrlein going into the final stages of this race.
Albie, we're now within the final 10 laps of this race. Tell us what you think in terms of strategy for Eduardo Mortara. We see Pascal Wehrlein getting the better of Nick De Vries, coming down the start-finish straight and going through for third. But Mortara is sort of leading this second group. Has he got a chance to try and attack here? Well, we'll come back to Albie in a couple of moments' time, but you can see that Mortara is definitely closer to the back of Antonio Felix da Costa. He's closed the deficit down from what was about 2.5 seconds a couple of laps ago, now down to about 1.2 seconds, so he's within striking distance. Speaking of striking, Muller has decided to go in for his final attack mode deployment, as Pascal Wehrlein, his teammate, is also bringing up the final podium places then here. So the two Porsches now in their final efforts of attack mode, and are they going to be able to do anything to close that gap that Evans has built up to 2.1 seconds and challenge for the race lead here?
As the leaders come up to the back of the pack, where it's Norman Nato, and again that's Maxi Günther getting overtaken. Is it again? Yeah, so the pace of that Penske is rotten at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an absolute shocker there for Max Günther. Maybe he's picked up some damage from some contact earlier on. We saw that himself and Tickton were quite a way off the back of the field, but we didn't see what happened.
Struggling with the rear, but mainly on lateral and traction.
So Muller struggling there with traction. He'll have a bit more now with the four-wheel drive and the extra 50 kilowatts of power, and he's got 5 minutes of attack mode deployment remaining. Race leader Evans goes in. Has he built out enough of a buffer? Quite comfortably there. Beautiful from Mitch Evans. Final attack mode deployment, 6 minutes left on the clock, and he manages to hold on to the race lead as well.
Yeah, that's perfect, isn't it? It's absolutely exactly what he would have wanted. No drama of having to risk an overtaking move, and he should be able to consolidate this, because you know he's got, even if he does come under a bit of pressure, he'll have an extra minute of attack mode relative to Muller, so he should be in a good place.
You've got the likes of Cassidy, who's not too far up the road, as well as Norman Nato. Been an absolute disaster for Nick Cassidy, 0 to 0 sort of stuff compared to a fortnight ago where he was the class of the field. He's just not been able to make an impression on this race. Likewise, the likes of Verne, Roland, Dennis, big names who haven't had an impact.
Okay, so let's just hit targets. We are still 0.5% more energy than Muller.
And they're coming up to lap Norman Nato now, so hopefully Norman lets his good and best friend out of the way and lets him through. But yeah, he's got 5 minutes left. Muller only 3 minutes 50 to go. Wehrlein only 43 seconds, so Norman Nato gets out of the way and lets the top three through.
Yeah, nice and sensible there for Norman Nato. He's a wise old head, and he knows how to play the game and does so perfectly. So just allows the top three to go through. So you're going to see Wehrlein coming to the end of his attack mode in about 30 seconds or so. De Vries has still got one left, but you wonder, because we saw him over-consuming energy earlier on. He was down a couple of percent relative to the top three. If that's going to come back to bite him in the backside, and even though he'll have more power and more performance, whether he'll be able to use that.
As we see Joel Eriksson making a move on
De Vries.
Nick De Vries, and Nick De Vries has actually had a black and white flag for, guess what, moving under braking.
I actually don't think the energy is going to be too much of an issue. Yeah, because I think they've all driven at a much slower pace that they might actually end up finishing the race with a little bit of energy in the tank.
And the thing is, the pace has now picked up. Evans' fastest lap last time around, a 1:03.5. That's easily the quickest we've seen. It's nearly half a second faster than Nico Muller. So the pace has now begun to pick up, and even if you've got an advantage of performance, doesn't mean you're going to be able to use it, given the fact that the field is, of course, now significantly more spread out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ericsson's now got, 3 minutes of attack mode to try and catch Verline, but he's nearly 7 seconds behind Verline. So that field spread that you talked about there, Tom, is kind of made it a bit tricky, isn't it, in terms of really trying to come through the pack.
Absolutely. There's definitely still some good battles going on further down the field. Some drivers separated by under a second on the sort of battles inside the top 10. You've got Mitch Evans, who's there, of course, your race leader, second or so in front of Nico Muller. You're right on board with Nick de Vries at the moment, who, as we said, is down on energy, but we'll wait and see whether that proves to be to his detriment. He's in his final attack mode deployment. He'll have a little bit more energy left, or indeed attack mode left, compared to Ericsson, so that might prove to be a benefit.
Still 0.5% more energy than Muller. Gap 1 second.
Yeah, the calm voice there of Alan Cox, race engineer for Mitch Evans, just relaying the good news. You've got Mortara there in 7th place. The likes of Marty, Buemi, Dennis, Maloney, all in attack mode at the moment. Buemi's got 5 minutes. He's a real outlier, so he decided to go for the 2 minutes early on, and that could prove to be quite beneficial for the Swiss driver after the disappointment of starting plumb last on the grid. Could be on for a decent enough points haul here this afternoon.
Well, it depends on if it gets compressed behind Nick de Vries. I mean, Buemi could get as high as potentially 5th place here, because de Vries is the cork in the bottle right now.
And let's bear in mind, he started last, Buemi, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that'll be an incredible result for him.
Yeah, it could be a double top 5 finish for the Envision team at the moment. We'll wait and see how that works out. Wonder if they might be able to use Joel Eriksson as a bit of a pawn in the chess game here to try and back the rest of the pack up. I think it'll be a tall order, given the fact that Eriksson's going to come to the end of his attack mode deployment before the field in front. You've got Dennis there having to take evasive action on Sebastian Buemi. Nearly did what his teammate replicated about 4 or 5 laps ago.
Yeah, the challenge for Buemi is right now the cars in front are also still in attack mode, so he's kind of got to just wait for the last 2 minutes. That's when he'll get a chance to cycle through.
Yeah, he's playing the patient game here, is Sebastian Buemi. I wonder if the fruits of his labour will be rewarded. Meanwhile, Mitch Evans just looks like he's out on a Sunday drive. He's calm and comfortable, and even better news, Muller in 20 seconds is going to end attack mode, whilst Evans has still got another minute left in his pocket.
And it's now a 2-horse race, because Verline's dropped 6.6 seconds behind not 6.6 seconds behind Muller, 5.2 seconds behind Nico Muller. So yeah, it's definitely a 2-horse race now.
Yeah. Ignore Cassidy in the middle. I mean, that's a championship leader, but well, he's been lapped already. It's extraordinary. I mean, Citroën and Nissan have had an utterly miserable day, and so have Penske. So the Stellantis powertrains in these conditions have just not worked. They are, between 13th and 19th, those 4 cars.
Oh, you've got Marty going a little bit deep down into turn 13. That opens the door here for Sebastian Buemi, who runs alongside him. You've got Mortara and Da Costa, who are side by side, both in attack mode as well, coming down in towards turn 1. Da Costa with the inside line, Mortara with the outside. Marty versus Buemi in the battle for 8th place. Buemi's going up through ahead of the Cupra Kiro driver, and what's happening up the road? Da Costa is in front of Eduardo Mortara, splitting the 2 Mahindras. Oh, Mortara on the inside, crunch of carbon fibre into turn 4, just gets into the side pod there of Da Costa, gives him a face full of wall on the outside there as well, and Mortara gets the position back against the Portuguese driver.
Both of the Mahindra drivers are so feisty, aren't they? They really like to get their elbows out.
Yeah, they certainly do. Coming through in towards the left-hander as we look at Mitch Evans, who is now ending his attack mode and beginning the final lap of racing. What a performance this has been from the Kiwi. And I don't think, unless anything happens to Evans on this last lap, that Muller is going to be anywhere near close enough, because the gap is up to 3.4 seconds at the last time across the line between those 2 drivers. Mortara there in 6th place, Da Costa in 7th. You've got Marty further back there as well, with Jake Dennis on the fringes of it.
Buemi's still got 2 minutes of attack left, so he's not going to be able to use the allotted amount, but with the new regulation, that's fine. Can he pick off Da Costa and maybe Mortara on this final lap?
Meanwhile, Mitch Evans, what a drive this has been from the Jaguar TCS Racing driver, and indeed from the whole team as well. An absolutely perfect call of strategy for the Kiwi. Started the race a bit further down than he would have liked. However, he's made consistent progress from 9th on the grid, and now he will come through into the final corner to take the checkered flag for the first time since Berlin 2025. Jaguar TCS Racing had no points on the board going into this weekend, but they are now winners in Formula E Season 12, as Mitch Evans wins here in Miami ahead of Nico Müller and Pascal Wehrlein. A double podium for the Porsche team. An absolutely phenomenal end to the race there for the German manufacturer in particular, and Joel Eriksson, best of the rest, just off the podium, the rookie in 4th position ahead of the 2 Mahindras. The rest of the drivers coming to the timing line: Buemi, Da Costa, Marti and Dennis completing the points finishers.
Beauty. That's like, boys and girls. Well, that is P1. Well done, mate. What a turnaround.
Let's go down then and catch up with Mitch Evans, Karun.
Mitch Evans up here in the commentary box. It was brilliant to watch. Fantastic result for you. Your first points of the season, and what a way to get it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. We needed this, and I must say I wasn't expecting it. So the rain came at the best time. The guys gave me an absolute weapon. High concentration race, and I'll make mistakes, but yeah, first one of the season, first points of the season. So yeah, happy days.
How stressful was it in these conditions? Because as you say, no chance to make any mistakes there. Was it a stressful race?
It wasn't too bad. I was just trying to, yeah, keep the pressure on the guys when I was trying to come up against them, and just trying to make mistakes myself, and then obviously executing the attacks. So, but we had a mega pace, so just had to, you know, hit my apexes and not make any mistakes, and that's what we did. So, but the team gave me a great card to do that.
Congratulations and enjoy the podium.
I will.
An amazing job from Mitch Evans. He was on 999 points prior to this weekend. He has now broken 1,000 career points as he takes his 15th Formula E career victory. Mitch Evans, magnificent in Miami as he is victorious.
I wasn't expecting that, boys, but thank you. You gave me a weapon.
Yeah, let's remember this. I thought we'll use it again. Mitch is in. That was absolutely textbook. Thank you so much. Well done, buddy. Bring it home. Let's go drink some champagne.
Great job from Mitch Evans, the victor here in Miami. A well-deserved win after keeping his head cool and calm when others faltered. Great job also for the 2 Porsches. A double podium finish for both Nico Müller and for Pascal Wehrlein. Down in Parc Fermé as they congratulate one another. Good job for Pascal Wehrlein in particular. If you remember where he was lining up on the grid, it was 11th position, so he made a fair old rate of progress to come through to the podium.
And it was the early attackers. He was one of the first to do it as well. Felipe Drogovic blinked first, and then Pascal Wehrlein, I think, on the next lap. So those early attackers, really, it paid dividends today.
Yeah, certainly did. Well, Mitch Evans there down in Parc Fermé. As you see, his 15th career win in Formula E, setting a new record here this afternoon. Amazing job for the Kiwi as he chats there to Nico Müller, who again adds to his podium tally in Formula E. That first win still eluding him for the time being, but I'm sure it's a case of when and not if we get more performances like that from the Swiss driver. And again, for Pascal Wehrlein, I think he'll be pretty pleased with how that one worked out. Some more points on the board, crucial for the championship challenge. I know it's an early part of the season, we're only on round 3. However, it's a long season and every point matters.
Oh, it's beautifully done. Foyer, so he has. Oh, super goal! Towards the goal! Many times already in his young career. And he does place it. Oh, doesn't he do that? Come on with the big moment.
Bundesliga live di iNews Premium Sport. Mulai 18 Februari, Cahaya Muda Indonesia. Saatnya menantikan penampilan spesial dan aksi terbaik para calon dai muda pilihan Indonesia. dan luar negeri. iNews Sport hanya di iNews.
But yeah, hopefully this is a good restart for our season. But yeah, hopefully we can continue on 15 wins.
Congratulations, Mitch.
Thanks, guys.
15 career wins then for Mitch Evans. Amazing job from him. Great drive and a proper display of calmness as well as control and precision over the course of a race. It would have been very easy to lose your head, and Mitch Evans managed to avoid that. Let's catch up though with the man who finished in second position, Nico Müller, pole to P2 at the checkered flag.
A hard-fought battle for your pole sitter, Nico Müller. Battles the whole time. How are you able to keep it up front? And a podium for your team, second and third.
Yeah, super pleased for the guys at Porsche Formula E. You know, we've worked very hard to get also myself integrated into the team quickly. Third weekend, both cars on the podium. I think we could only ask for a little bit more, but Mitch was just a tiny bit better today. You know, I think he really deserved that victory. Congrats to him. But just pleased for our team. Lots of points. Great day with pole position and P2 for myself, and that's what we're building on.
A great team day for Nico and Porsche.
Many congratulations to Nico Müller. Equals his career best result from Valencia 2021 with P2. He scored in every race this season, so consistency is certainly something that's been in favour for the Swiss driver this year. Managed to outperform his teammate at the checkered flag, but a double podium for the Porsche team will be a very welcome result, especially for Pascal Wehrlein. Started P11 on the grid to come through and finish in third position. Porsche, of course, getting on the podium for the second consecutive season. Both cars on the podium for the second consecutive season in Miami, actually, for that matter. Let's go down and catch up with Pascal Wehrlein then, P3 for the Season 10 World Champion.
It was second and third place finishes for both Porsche drivers, but Pascal Wehrlein, you started 12th, worked your way up to third. Did you use these conditions to your advantage today?
Yeah, it was a good race. Struggled a bit the whole weekend, and we found an issue on the car which probably compromised a bit everything that happened before the weekend or before the race. But still, yeah, I think P3 today was the maximum for us with that starting position, and it's a double podium for the team, a lot of points, so we can be happy with that. Nevertheless, I think with a better qualifying there was definitely the win possible.
Obviously wanting the win today, but when you say third, it's about all we have, and the team has gotten second and third today. How big is that for the team as a whole?
It's a lot of points, need to calculate. 36 points this weekend with Nico's pole position. So it's definitely one of our best weekends in terms of points collection. It's still early into the season, it's just the third race, and we are banking those points, which is important for the rest of the season.
12th to third today for Pascal Wehrlein.
Thank you.
Checkered flag, very nice job, very nice job. Sorry for not giving you a better car at the beginning of the weekend. Drive off. Don't need to drive offline, it would not be very big, a lot of pickup. First podium, first podium.
Beautifully done. Floyer, so he has. Oh, super goal. Towards the goal. Many times already in his young career. And he does. Place it. Oh, doesn't he do that? Come on with the big moments.
Bundesliga live di iNews Premium Sport.
suci penuh cahaya, kita berkumpul buka cerita tentang perjuangan.
Orang-orang soleh itu cobaannya berat. Kadang diuji itu dengan musibah, kadang juga diuji dengan amalan.
Zulkarnain mengatakan kepada kaum tersebut untuk bersyukur kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala.
Bersyukur adalah hal yang terbaik atas pemberian Allah Subhanahu wa taala.
Quran kita jadikan pedoman hidup selamat dunia akhirat.
Di bulan suci kita bersimpu, menyerap cahaya yang begitu
Bundesliga live iNews Premium Sports. Update berita olahraga terbaik dalam dan luar negeri. iNews Sport hanya di iNews.
How was dry setup, but wet practice?
It's similar-ish for us.
Yeah. To be honest, I think if the tyres work, it's a matter of what setup you have on. Yeah.
But if the tires work, you can have whatever in the car.
Exactly, yeah.
It's weird, from one set to the other is a different car.
Big difference, yeah. I mean, even in the dry bit, I feel, in the wet it's huge.
Right here. It's so fucking hard to know how hard you can brake in these conditions, right? It's like
You're taking a bit more risk than me.
You think you're like, I'm safe.
Yeah,
you go a bit harder.
Once it locks, it goes.
Yeah, like turn one time.
Behind me, yeah. My direction was still behind you.
Yeah, you didn't really.
Beautiful pictures here of all of the fans that have made their way to the podium. Drivers will be there in just a short moments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here and enjoying this tremendous.
I had to underdrive massive. My year was good, just my front and
yeah, I had a feeling we weren't feeling it already when the energy stayed up. And you can see just on the rate you were pressing it. Alan Cox. I was kind of, I think I knew.
Why is this a little bit of that?
You can't say no.
You go. Are you doing the trophy?
No. Alan Cox, space engineers doing it.
Okay, as long as it's not the picture.
I don't get up.
Well, I have to say that Sam Bird was nodding in agreement with that one, and I'm not surprised at all. Fair play.
Of course I was.
Never
doubt. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Never doubt.
I enjoy calling the race as it is and getting it right all the time.
Yeah, great job from Mitch Evans and indeed for the Jaguar team. Great also with Alan Cox, race engineer. Sort of that relationship began second half of last year.
Again, I called it earlier. Yeah. Great engineer.
You did.
Did say that.
Yeah. You got the lottery numbers for Tuesday? Or?
No, not yet. To me. But no, this dynamic is working really, really nicely between these two. You can see them there. Of course, they're going to look happy. They've just won the race, and fair play to Mitch Evans as well. He's just won his 15th Formula E race, setting a new record ahead of Sebastian Buemi. That's a big number. That's a really big number. This championship, it's difficult to win races, and it swaps and changes around all the time. Very different to Formula One, where it's 3 or 4 people that can win a race. In this championship, 20 people can win. So well done to Mitch Evans on a deserved victory.
Yeah, very well deserved win from Mitch Evans. You can see the two Porsche drivers in there as well, Pascal Wehrlein and Nico Müller. Alan Cox, race engineer for Mitch Evans, makes his way onto the stage as the team representative for Jaguar TCS Racing. Lovely stuff for Alan Cox, and indeed for the Jaguar TCS Racing team, Alejandro Agag, Jeff Dodds and Alberto Longo also up there on the podium, as well as the dignitaries. And 2 thumbs up from Mitch Evans, race engineer.
Yeah, Alberto Longo and Alejandro Agag have been on more podiums than any driver in Formula E history. They're always there. But in third place, coming up to the podium is Pascal Wehrlein. He's there again, isn't he, Tom? He's always seems to be there. This Porsche powertrain works so well in all conditions, and Pascal Wehrlein is a top operator.
Certainly is. Amazing from Pascal Wehrlein. Thoroughly deserved from P11 on the grid to the podium at the checkered flag. And well, you can't really ask for more than that in conditions like that, where it's so easy to lose your head. And he kept it calm, cool and controlled over the course of that. And I think he's bringing his daughter up onto the stage as well.
Fantastic.
Lovely. We like that from Pascal Wehrlein. He's a family man at heart, isn't he? Congratulations to all the dignitaries up there. And now makes his way into 3rd position on the podium for the German driver.
Next, in 2nd place for Porsche Formula E team, it is Nico Müller.
2nd place for Nico Müller, pole to P2 at the checkered flag for the Swiss driver. Again, all the ingredients are there for that first win, aren't they? Feels like it's a case of when and not if for Nico Müller. He's had really good consistency.
It will happen. It will happen. He showed that he deserved that chance with the Porsche factory team this year. Some people doubted him going into the season, but he's proved them all so wrong. The first 3 races, he's been really solid.
Yeah, great job from Nico Müller. Lucien Lavescon up there in the podium celebration area. A high five for Nico Müller from Pascal Wehrlein's daughter. Oh, and nearly falling over onto the podium. Recovered in style, as if we should ever doubt it. Good job for Nico. But this man here continues to break records in Formula E. 15 career wins in this championship now. Mitch Evans for Jaguar TCS Racing. His first victory since Berlin at the back end of season 11. And a very well-deserved one after a torrid start to the year for that team. No points on the board, last in the team's championship coming into this weekend. They needed a strong result, and that's exactly what they've got. As Ian James said, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed with how it worked out in terms of the other car for Antonio Felix da Costa, who we see there finishing P8 of the checkered flag, but nonetheless, very well-deserved for Mitch Evans as he takes his first win of season 12. As the confetti now flies here in Miami. We now get ready for the national anthems to play. National anthem of New Zealand plays out for Mitch Evans. Now time then for the national anthem of the United Kingdom to play out for Jaguar TCS Racing. God Save the King plays out to Jaguar TCS Racing here in Miami, to a rapturous applause for that outfit after their first win of the season, their first points, believe it or not, of season 12. And now time for the celebrations to begin. First of all with the garlands, second of all, of course, the trophies, the medals, and then the champagne shower. I'd love to say in the sunshine, but sadly that seems to have disappeared quite significantly. Believe it or not, it was 28 degrees here in Miami a week ago, and very sadly that's not proved to be the case here this weekend. But they did throw up an exciting curveball for the drivers to contend with. First up, the team's trophy presented to Jaguar TCS Racing. Some more silverware for that team to take back home to their base. Alan Cox holding that trophy aloft. DaCosta and Ian James down there in the crowd as well. Now time the third place trophy to be presented by Linson James, the co-founder of Women in Motorsport North America. Third place there to Pascal Wehrlein with his daughter up on the stage. Fantastic from Pascal, and a wonderful double podium finish here for the Porsche team. Concluded with this man here, Nico Müller, presented by Lucien Lavescant, the second place trophy. Adding to his podium tally, Nico Müller in his Formula E career, after pole position earlier on here today. First of all, the FIA medal to be presented by Alejandro Agag, the chairman and founder of Formula E, awarded to Mitch Evans. And now the winner's trophy, the 15th time he'll have held one of these aloft in his career, setting a new record in this championship. What a drive from Mitch Evans, from 9th on the grid to first at the checkered flag. Mitch Evans, a winner in Formula E once again for the first time in season 12. As he holds the winner's trophy aloft here, it's magic in Miami for Mitch. Now time for the champagne shower to begin. And the celebrations, I'm sure, to go long into the night as well. Just a fortnight to go until we get the doubleheader in Jeddah underway as well. Hugely excited to see what will happen under the lights in Saudi Arabia. Well, the celebrations now set to continue here for Jaguar TCS Racing. Phenomenal job from that outfit. Who was your standout performer of the race, Sam, if you had to pick one?
So there were two for me. Mitch Evans obviously winning the race, winning his 15th Formula E race as well. Drove so brilliantly. It looked like he had the car underneath him and delivered when it mattered. But the other one, Joel Eriksson, coming home in 4th place. I think that's a stunning drive for him. You know, he wasn't a fancy driver coming into this season. With a pretty good team in Envision, with a fancied car, with a Jaguar powertrain. But look at what he's delivered. 12 points today. Great job. Yeah, thoroughly well-deserved job for Joel Eriksson there. Just 3.5 seconds off the back of the final podium finisher, Pascal Wehrlein. Nick de Vries in 5th position. That's some good points on the board there for Mahindra, with Mortara finishing P6 ahead of Sebastian Buemi, who came from last on the grid to finish inside P7. Let's get confirmation of the results here in Miami then. Mitch Evans takes his 15th career win ahead of Nico Müller and Pascal Wehrlein. Joel Eriksson in his full-time rookie debut season finishes P4 ahead of Nick de Vries and Eduardo Mortara, the two Mahindras, bagging a double top 10 finish ahead of Sebastian Buemi. Antonio Felix da Costa will be a little bit disappointed, but he was in front of another strong performance. More points for Pepe in 9th position. Marty finishes ahead of Jake Dennis in the Andretti. And then just on the fringes of the top 10, disappointing day at the office for the likes of Oliver Rowland, for Jean-Eric Vergne, for Nick Cassidy, for Norman Nato, for Felipe Drugovich, and also for Maximilian Günther, as well as Dan Ticktum. No points here this afternoon, and not much of an impression made in terms of position for the race here today for those drivers. They'll be hoping for better fortunes next time out in Jeddah. And what it means for the Drivers' Championship as well, because Nick Cassidy was leading the championship going into this one, wasn't he? Yeah, I still think that Nick Cassidy is going to be leading it, but the whole pack behind him is now compressed. Along comes Pascal Wehrlein into the fight. Nico Muller's there as well.
Let's have a look then. Nick Astley is still leading the Drivers' Championship despite failing to score here this afternoon. However, his nearest rival is now Pascal Wehrlein. Dennis and Rowland moving down the order. Muller and Evans moving up the order at the expense of Eduardo Mortara. And look at that, Joel Eriksson catapults himself up inside the top 10 with 12 very well-deserved points for the Swedish driver. He's just in front of his teammate Sebastian Buemi as well as Taylor Barnard. De Vries also making some ground, and likewise Antonio Felix da Costa with his first points of 2026. That's at the expense of Jean-Eric Verne, Zane Maloney as well as Norman Nato. In terms of the teams championship going into this one, it was Citroën that were leading.